I just completed multiple listens of the new Kendrick Lamar project, GNX. And at its best, it sounds like a very fun piece of work by Kendrick Lamar that still does a great job of balancing it with content that we love from him, right? Deeper content. But at its worst, it sounds like it'd be a mixtape that needs maybe another series to fully get the point across of the new stage and a new path that Kendrick Lamar is on. Now, before I break down each record track by track, I just want to say I can't believe we all missed it, right? It was right in front of us in the first place. When Kendrick Lamar did that bizarre interview, the car in which this project was named after was right in front of us, right? Now, a few people already breaking this down, right? Shout out to Survive here, putting it together. It was named after Kendrick's car. He owns a 1987 Buick Grand National Regal GNX. Kendrick was driven home from the hospital after being born in a GNX. He used to play with remote control GNX cars with his cousins as kids. Now, this is the car being posted on his Finster, right, the Jojo Ruski Finster. This is posted, I believe, somewhere around March of this year. So you can see he's kind of had this, it's connected all of these things together when the year started. Now, here's a little nugget for you. The Buick GNX was one of the only cars that actually beat the Ferrari F450 in a 0 to 60 miles per hour race, right? Do you know what the maker of Ferrari's, one of his nicknames? Do you know what it was? Yes. Ferrari was known as Il Drake. Just a little nugget. I'm not saying, but I am saying, right? Let's keep going. Now, before we get to track one, I do want to say 1987 Buick Regal. Kendrick Lamar was born in the year 1987. Nice, fun stuff, right? Track one, Whacked Out Murals. For me, I think this record does a great job of basically summing up what I'm about to get. A mix of Watch the Party Die vibes and Not Like Us vibes is what I can simplistically place this project as. And Whacked Out Murals starts off with a very angelic tone, right? It features Dara Barrera. I'm hoping my pronunciation of a lot of this stuff doesn't get messed up. And mariachi singer, who is featured on two other records on top of this one. And Kendrick starts off this record by just being very direct. Right? I mean, there's a portion on here where he says, hey, I'm not with the double entendres, right? So he's letting you know he's ready to speak his mind on a few things that's been happening pretty recently. One of them was the Lil Wayne situation. You know, I used to bump Carter 3. I hold my rolly chain proud. Irony, I think my hard work let Lil Wayne down, right? Got the Super Bowl. Nas was the only one congratulating me. All these ninjas agitated. I'm just glad it's on their faces. Wow. Another one, he touches on Snoop posting of TaylorMade when the Great Rap Shinobi War started. He said, Snoop posted TaylorMade. I prayed it was the edibles. It was the only right for me to let it go, right? Say, hey, West Coast legend, I'm going to let this one go. And of course, Snoop has something to say. Hey, K-Dot new album, GNX. It was the edibles, West King. The shots at what I presume to be Andrew Schultz was also pretty interesting. K-Dot be online. Sonically, I enjoyed the second part. I enjoyed the drop of this intro a lot. And it set the tone of what I think I was getting ready to start expecting, right? Up-tempo, message, up-tempo, kind of that cycle. Track number 2, this heater right here. I was in for such a shock because, you know, when we heard the broccoli snippet, reincarnated snippet, whatever the heck we named it, this was a perfect opportunity for Kendrick Lamar to let us know, hey, by the way, you don't know what I'm going to do. You know what I'm going to do, but you don't know what I'm going to do. So I play Squabble Up and I go, oh, that's broccoli. And I hear Squabble Up. And that intro still sounded just like it sounded like when we heard the snippet. Sounded great, right? Then we have kind of like this sort of change up a little bit, and then it gets back to the elements of what I thought this song would be. There's a little tri-state mention there as an East Coast, Jersey, New York, PA, Connecticut guy. Kendrick, what was that about? Absolutely love the post-chorus on this. And then there's a portion where, again, I think I'm just going to keep referencing those two songs. Watch the Party Die and Not Like Us. At one point, he dances on that side of the music. Another point, he dances on the Not Like Us side. There was a part where he was doing some chants that were very similar to the chants that he did on Not Like Us. I thought that was very fascinating. Track number 3 is Luther. Now, this one is a vibe. Remember, we go up-tempo, down-tempo, up, down, right? So Luther brings us down. It's featuring SZA. For me, this record reminds me a little bit of Love from the Damn album. I don't think this is going to be a personal favorite, but it is something I can vibe to. I'm seeing a lot of internet feedback that a lot of you love this record, and I'm totally okay with that. I think sonically sometimes it feels a little cluttered with him overlapping some of the vocals with SZA, but hey, if you like it, I love it. This record, I'm not going to spend too much time on it. I do think it was a solid, good vibe. I probably would have let SZA carry a lot more of the vocals. Now, I thoroughly enjoyed the discovery of the next track number 4, Man at the Garden. Immediately, my head said, Nas, one mic. My brain went to it immediately as I was really on when we were on live. And shout out to everybody that was on a live today as we did our first reaction. We were piecing a lot of this stuff together. Now I listened multiple times again. I don't think I want to just put my finger on it and say, oh, there was a sample here. But I definitely feel like this was one mic coded. And particularly at the end, right, where he goes in and does that one mic like Nas pickup, right? You know what I'm talking about. Go listen to one mic and listen to the end of one mic when Nas picks it up. That was very interesting. The I Deserve It All portion right here seems like Kendrick finally maybe done with that battle, right? Okay, that's why he's done with that battle of maybe should I feel guilty about the success that's coming towards me? No, I deserve it all. I've worked hard. These are the things that I've done to put myself in these positions, right? A lot of production with Soundwave co-producing every record on this album. I do want to point out the Jack Antonoff credits. Very interesting because Jack Antonoff, if you don't know, is a Taylor Swift sort of cohort, I guess. He works a lot with Taylor Swift. DJ Snake, you are a snake because Taylor Swift is not on this album or on this project, whatever you want to call it. But I'm guessing maybe DJ Snake saw that Jack Antonoff was going to be on some credits, and that's why he went around yelling at everybody, telling us, oh, Taylor Swift's going to be on 3 years out of songs or some nonsense like that. Now, for me, track number 5, Hey Now, shout out to Dodie Six. And then this is what I mean by, Kendrick Lamar doing sort of like a balancing act. So you put out one of your most commercial projects in a long time and having some fun, right? But the only mainstream, other than Roddy Ricch, and I believe in SZA, I think Roddy Ricch has some vocal work here, you use a lot of the West Coast artists that are up and coming that some of us might not know. So Dodie Six was on this. This was definitely Keek the Sneak vibe. It was definitely Yin Yang Twin vibes. The beginning, I don't think would stick out that much, but I love the remaining part of this record. The second verse picks it up. There were some shots here, and there were some shots for Aubrey, right? The Jack Dorsey line with the Square Cash App. There was some sort of speculations Drake has something to do with Jack Dorsey's girl, so that was interesting. Last one figured out he was Magneto. The Black Note, I Just Strangled Me a Goat, right? They're all right there for you. And they get spooky in October. Obviously, I know Halloween is October, but October's very own. They were right there for you. Now, track number 6, Reincarnated. Definitely Tupac coded, right? That samples off of Made Ninjas, or something you say Made Men. It's right there. Now, the theme to this, we could do an hour on this record, but I just want to cover first verse, second verse, and third verse. Reincarnated, first verse seems like we thought at first he was sort of speaking from a perspective of Barry Gordy, but it seems like that might be John Lee Hooker. So some of you guys might have to double check on this. And then the second verse, I speculated it might be Dina Washington. Some people said Whitney Houston. We're probably going to need more listens to this to figure it out. And then we get to him on the third verse, sort of talking to God, almost like in a perspective of how Lucifer would talk to God, but being in charge of music. Very deep. For me, this is a must listen. I love this record. Track number 7, TV Off. This one, wash out banger. Why was Kendrick Lamar screaming, mustard? Lets you know, again, by the way, there's no big 3. He lets you know on TV Off. This is one of the standout songs in which he goes punchline after punchline after punchline after punchline, right? I love that. At the end, I thought that was YG. It was not. It sounded very YG coded. It was Lefty Gunplay. That was fire. Looks like we're approaching the 10-minute mark on here. As you know, that's the most I can make a TikTok video. Like, comment, share. And we will be getting out part 2 from track 8 all the way to the end and my conclusion. Mustard! Boy, it sounded like he was going Super Saiyan.